Hello, and I am here to explain myself. When I did that 40-minute video essay on Assassin's Creed, I honestly did not expect all the attention that it received. But I was also surprised that most of it was actually positive. It isn't my most viewed video, it isn't my most liked video, but it is the most commented video on my channel. A lot of you had very encouraging and informative things to say, and even recommended a few of the other games for me to play, which is great. I was also astounded at how many comments were full paragraphs, both positive and negative. I will say that literally a day or two after uploading that video, I noticed that the Ezio Collection was on sale on the PlayStation Store for only $12, so I bought it, and I've played and completed Assassin's Creed 2. Which I will be getting to later in the video. If you just want to skip ahead to that part, then take a look at the chapters in the description. Now, I've made all of my YouTube videos under the philosophy that nobody could possibly come out as negative towards how I feel about a game, movie, or TV show, because as my wise senpai peanut butter gamer once said, circa 2012.
In the real world, people are respectful. They're kind to each other. I mean, they don't just insult someone for having a different opinion. They don't just say mean-spirited things to others, especially over the internet.
And that quote has held true even to this day, right? Right? Wrong! Assassin's Creed being one of the most recognized properties in the video game industry, it has to attract not just the positive onlookers, but also a bunch of moles that behave in the same manner as a Karen at Starbucks. Some people had some really stupid things to say. In fact, some of them I had to block from leaving comments on my channel ever again, because some of the things that they were saying were just downright disrespectful. Go ahead and say that I have an L opinion all you want. It is still my opinion and I am entitled to it. Go ahead and call me a weeb for liking Persona all you want. If being a weeb is what it means to be a fan of Persona, then I am going to wear it like a badge of honor. Because Persona is amazing. I don't care if there is no saving me. I don't want to be saved, because besides my girlfriend, the Persona series stole my heart. Pun intended. Disclaimer, Noble Player 6, don't take that out of context. I'm glad that you enjoyed the video, we can just agree to disagree, but also, Persona 5 Royal is a masterpiece and nobody can convince me otherwise. For the first part of this video, I'm going to be discussing comments that were left on my So I Finally Played Assassin's Creed video. Please be advised that I am not going to verbally respond to all of these, I'm only going to respond to a few that had actual arguments, and a few comments that I found funny and or entertaining, because why not? I am not going to be responding to comments that sound like they came from a little baby. Like this asshole. Anyway, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Okay, so I'm scrolling through the comments now. The first few of them start talking about how good Assassin's Creed 2 is. Okay, so let's touch on one of the people in the comments that kind of irked me off the most. Deb Noir Bane. So this guy had a lot of nice things to say, but let's go to the comment that kind of annoyed me the most. Origins was the revival the franchise needed. There's a reason it doubled Ubisoft's sales within 2 weeks of its release. Awesome story. I won't argue with that, I guess. One of the best protagonists the series has seen. Again, something that I guess I can't argue about. I don't agree that Bayek is the best protagonist. And an improved combat system. We're still talking about Origins, right? Let's actually go back a little bit and talk about the point that he pointed out, that there's a reason it doubled Ubisoft's sales within 2 weeks of its release. This is something that a lot of people still need to learn. Just because something sells a lot of copies and makes a lot of money does not necessarily mean that it is always a good thing. Any game that sells over 1 million copies is considered a success, but that doesn't mean that said game is going to appeal to everybody, and I have the perfect example. Does anybody know how much money Call of Duty and Fortnite has made over the years?
This game is made by 15 studios and it can't even launch.
Okay. Epic Games? This time you have gone too far. On the other hand, they added my favorite My Hero Academia character, so I don't know whether to call this a win or a loss. I honestly have no idea how Epic Games could make this even worse. They frickin' put Raiden in. Yeah, okay, that's it. I'm going back to playing the better game. Precisely my point. In fact, someone else in the comments made a similar counter-argument with a movie series. Stealth Brawler says, money does not equal good. The Fast and Furious movies are premium trash from 5 and 6 onward. Yet, they make bank. See, I'm not the only one who thinks that. And stay with me, this gets better. Also, I love people complaining about microtransactions in a single-player game. The game doesn't need you to use them, doesn't encourage this, nor makes you reliant on them. I've completed every Assassin's Creed game since without ever once thinking about using microtransactions. I'd judge someone for using them, sure, but it doesn't boil my blood and make me hate the game for having shortcuts for lazy gamers. Can we rewind for a second? I've completed every Assassin's Creed game since without ever once thinking about using microtransactions. Exactly. So why are they there again? Now, free-to-play games, I can understand microtransactions in free-to-play games because that is how those games make money. But a single-player full-release game that you already just bought for $60? If the game that you just bought is designed in a way that you can easily progress the game without the need for microtransactions, then the microtransactions should not even be there in the first place. But no, Ubisoft just has to be Ubisoft.
It's an opportunity to make millions.
Ubisoft wants you to spend real money on in-game experience so that you don't have to actually play the game you just bought for $60.
Screw you, Ubisoft. So if microtransactions are in such a game, of course I'm going to complain about it. A lot of people say that Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla are basically Witcher clones, and while I am inclined to agree, you don't see microtransactions in The Witcher 3, do you? I have played The Witcher 3, and I agree that it is the far superior game. Syndicate was one of the two I had the most fun with traversal. That is indeed a video with wild takes. Dude didn't even play the Ezio trilogy and wants to talk about how much Assassin's Creed sucks. That's like only playing Code Veronica and hating all of Resident Evil. Syndicate sucks. So obviously, a couple of people do not share how I feel about Syndicate. Now, speaking from purely an objective standpoint, I would agree that Syndicate is the worst Assassin's Creed game. It has a gang system that is entirely inconsequential and feels out of place for an Assassin's Creed game, and it has a terrible story with really unlikable characters. Don't believe me? Check out this cutscene from Sequence 5, Memory 7.
Well, since Henry isn't here, I thought you might enjoy the company.
I don't require any company, and Mr. Green is following up on some leads of his own.
Oh, yes, Mr. Green. That's a fascinating idea. Oh, please, Mr. Green, come and take a look at this book and stand oh so close to me, Mr. Green.
Such a nice family, aren't they? Now, speaking from a subjective standpoint, yes, Syndicate does leave a lot to be desired. If that is your reason for playing the game tries to tell a story that fits into the Assassin's Creed timeline and it ultimately fails. But that's not my reason for playing Syndicate. I am here to zip around London and bonk blighters on the head. Plus, the combat just feels really good. It's a lot swifter and faster paced, compared to Unity, where it takes Arno way too long to swing a sword. Plus, just a couple of months ago in November, Assassin's Creed Syndicate received a free next-gen update for PS5, so now the game looks a lot sharper and just runs a whole lot smoother. Dodge a bullet, counter, double kill, make that guy flip upside down, bonk him all over a whole bunch of times, tip my top hat, Bob's your uncle, good night. Now then, if you would be so kind as to join me for a spot of tea, dear boy. Lukewarm? You're the cause of this, aren't you? Oh, don't give me that. Go and watch this video by Nakey Jakey if you still don't understand my logic. Me with Assassin's Creed Syndicate free copy officially given by Ubisoft itself. Interesting argument there. Counter argument though, nobody cares. Bro hella styled on the stalkers in Rogue. Respect, man. Aw, why thank you. You know, I don't really like to show off, but, you know. Very good video, but just one recommendation. Please don't record videos wearing a spider shirt. Every time you were on screen, I had to look away because the giant spider was a bit too much for me, and my arachnophobia isn't even that bad. Oh, Lucas Jampin, the irony is strong with this one. My girlfriend has arachnophobia, so I know exactly where you were coming from. I hope that this time around, this Peanut Butter Gamer shirt is okay. I just find it funny because bro is uninterested in the story but was confused why a creed of assassins called the Assassins Don't Kill. Well, David Maddie, I find it funny how you are making stuff up. At no point in the entire video did I say something along the lines of, research? What's an internet? I don't use that high-tech future machine. Why were assassins not allowed to kill civilians? Assassins kill people. Also, I never learned how to read. Did you guys know that the Earth is flat? I am not that stupid, okay? The first time that I saw one of these, I had to look it up. And sure enough, yeah, one of the 3 tenets of the Assassin's Brotherhood is stay your blade from the flesh of the innocent. Maybe I should have brought that up in that first video, but that video was already turning out to be incredibly long. I mean, it's a 41-minute video. You think I wanted to make it even longer? In the end, I thought that I could be just a little bit lazy when writing the script for that video because I'm still a legal adult with responsibilities, and I also have ADHD, and I got distracted like a dozen times by YouTube videos while in the process of recording this very video.
Oh, the woes of turning into an adult, I suppose. Maybe the best years of your life truly are in high school. How upsetting. I didn't even enjoy those either.
Relatable. So if you could forgive me for leaving out that minor detail, that would be much appreciated. Besides, the point of that one part in the Syndicate segment of the last video was that I found it funny that assassins were not allowed to kill civilians, even though Syndicate has a workaround on that rule involving horse carriages, where you can run over innocent civilians with horse carriages and they do not seemingly die from that, and you suffer no consequences from it. It was a joke, and yet some people could not take the joke. Karta Kepi says, I'm just the kind of guy that can sink hundreds of hours into a gorgeous open world, so it's not a surprise that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is one of my all-time favorite games. And you know what? That is okay. I do not need to have the same exact opinions as everybody else. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Out of all 6 games in the Legendary Collection that I played, Odyssey is the one that I really did not like at all. But look, if you play a video game and you enjoy it, have a good time, okay? Don't take my hate for a video game and think that it's not appealing to you. If it's appealing to you, go on, have fun. That is just something that I wish some people would learn. In fact, let me give you an example. The Last of Us. I love The Last of Us, both Part 1 and Part 2. It isn't one of my top 10 favorite games of all time, but it's like 11. That is how much I love it. They are absolutely gorgeous story-driven games with some of the tensest stealth gameplay I have ever seen in a video game, and I also really love the HBO series, and I am absolutely looking forward to Season 2 of the HBO series later this year. But here's a true fact. My girlfriend hates The Last of Us because she cannot help but compare it to The Walking Dead every single time. But I'm not going to give her a hard time about it because, yes, she's my girlfriend and I love her, but mainly because it's her opinion, it's what she thinks about it, so I'm not going to bash her about it. Not everybody is going to have the same exact opinions that you do, and it is something that a lot of people just really need to live with. You got bored of Origins at 23 hours? Wait till you play Valhalla. This game has a ton of side content that is uninteresting. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now that I am not going to be getting Valhalla, even if it does go on sale. Also, this is something that I would just like to set off to the side. I like how people are just immediately misinterpreting the fact that everything that I said in the last video means that I know everything about Assassin's Creed when I am not claiming that I do, because I don't. I have only played 7 games out of... How many Assassin's Creed games are there? There's like 30, and Shadows makes 31. I am not planning on playing every single Assassin's Creed game in existence. I do, at some point, want to try the first game out, and of course the rest of the Ezio Collection and Assassin's Creed 3. After playing Origins and Odyssey, I definitely would most likely not enjoy Valhalla like one bit. AC Nerd 9794 in the comments shares this exact same sentiment. And I am also not going to be playing Shadows because there is so much bullshit surrounding that game before it is even out. The book was not just based on Wikipedia articles. The author of the book was the guy who wrote the Wikipedia article and used his book as a reference in his Wikipedia article. That just makes it sound a whole lot worse now, doesn't it? Now I'm definitely not getting Shadows. Holy crap, Ubisoft. The game was supposed to come out back in November, but after all of the backlash that Ubisoft has been getting about butchering the historical accuracy of the main character being featured in the game, they have delayed it to the middle of February. But that is not where it stops, because actually, while I was in the middle of writing the script for this video, Ubisoft has delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows again to March 20th. Typically, this is where someone will come in with the argument of, oh, well, if they're delaying the game, then they must be making it as best as they can. To which I will respond with the counter-argument of, a game being delayed does not necessarily mean that it is going to be a super polished title by the time it comes out. For example, does anybody remember the Cyberpunk situation? Disclaimer, this was Cyberpunk 2077 for a while after its launch back in 2020. Since then, the game has gone under numerous major patches and bug fixes, and from what I hear, it's practically a completely different game compared to when it launched, and it's apparently really good now. Rogue is better than Black Flag? WTF, bro? And then, in comes somebody else with the voice of reason. Hello, it's called an opinion, deal with it. Ooh, and there it is. There it is, right there. This man's career is over. I just need everybody to understand that I did not make that first video to hate talk about Assassin's Creed. I made that video to talk about my experiences with the games and what I thought about them. Some of them I really liked, and a couple of them I really did not like. That's really all there is to it. And that dog barking outside is honestly starting to drive me nuts. Stop! One more thing, as much as I dislike Origins and Odyssey, it's not like I am never going to play them again. I own them. They are in my library. I'm just probably not going to play them unless I am in a really good mood. Okay, I kinda killed my voice a bit responding to comments, so I took a break, got some sleep, and it is now the next day as I am recording this next part of the video. Honestly, the impression that I got after playing the Legendary Collection was the older the Assassin's Creed game, the better. And it's actually kind of appropriate since Assassin's Creed 2 recently passed its 15th anniversary. I'm not going to talk about Brotherhood or Revelations because I'd actually like to play those two games on my own time. 2 is the only game from the Ezio Collection that I've played and completed so far. So, what did I think about Assassin's Creed 2? Ooh, get your hands on the dislike button because I already know that people are going to be mad about this one. Assassin's Creed 2 is really good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, they caught Ezio slipping. Uh-oh. To be perfectly honest, after playing the 6 games in the Legendary Collection, it makes me appreciate 2 a lot more. For starters, the story. It isn't one of the top 10 best video game stories or anything like that, but it's interesting enough to stay engaging, and pretty much one of the best that the Assassin's Creed franchise has, if not the best. Ezio's whole drive and motivation easily makes him one of the better protagonists to follow. Plus, he's voiced by Roger Craig Smith, who does a pretty good job with what he was given.
What are you doing out here, Petruccio? You should be in bed. My father and brothers have been imprisoned. I was told to bring you this. Vorrei solo che avessi sofferto di più! Hai avuto la fine che meritavi! You are not the only one who lost a brother to the pazzi. My name is Ezio Auditore.
And the story even has some of the better supporting characters. I really enjoyed Leonardo da Vinci's inclusion in this. Leonardo has always been more than just a painter. He's always loved solving puzzles, which makes sense for him to be the perfect individual to decipher all the Assassin Codex pages that Ezio collects throughout the game. And even the inclusion of Leonardo's first flying machine makes sense. He's the one that repairs and unlocks all of Ezio's wrist blade upgrades, and he even has an amusing sense of humor, going so far as to joke about needing to cut Ezio's ring finger off.
This is how it must be done. The blade is designed to ensure the commitment of whoever wields it.
Which is something that would later be referenced in Origins.
I was only having fun, Ezio.
And of course, we can't forget about Ezio's Uncle Mario, right?
It's a me, Mario!
No, I'm not gonna go there. Setting the story aside for now, I also really like the gameplay, starting with the parkour. I've stated in the last video how I think that Unity and Syndicate have the best parkour mechanics, but compared to 2, it leaves a lot to be desired. In the later games, minus Origins and Odyssey, sprinting and freerunning is both done by holding down the right trigger. But because of this, you could often make jumps that you never meant to, and this can mess with your momentum pretty badly. However, in Assassin's Creed 2, only sprinting is done by holding down the right trigger, and freerunning is done by holding down both right trigger and X or A, depending on what platform you're playing on. This means that if Ezio jumps to a ledge but your thumb is off the X or A button, he won't jump forward or climb regardless if you're still holding the trigger down. This gives the player a lot more control. And if I just so happen to make a jump that I never meant to, it's my own fault and not the game's. But more importantly, it makes the parkour more fun. But the most fun that I have with the parkour is easily the assassin tombs. Each one is like a neat parkour platforming puzzle that you need to solve. And when you finish all of the assassin tombs, you unlock the Armor of Altair, which, from what I understand, is the only armor set in the whole game that doesn't break. Now that's certainly something that comes in handy. The only thing that comes close to the assassin tombs are all of the time trial races. Sometimes they are pretty engaging, but other times they can be kind of a pain. But hey, at least the music is very good. Even the combat was more engaging than the other games. Now, there are plenty of things about the combat that are still used in the later games onward, at least everything before Origins, but what makes the combat in 2 much more rewarding is watching Ezio's evolution from newbie to veteran assassin. Ezio doesn't get his father's assassin robes until he's 17, and as the game progresses, he is constantly unlocking new weapons, tools, combat, and freerunning techniques to make himself a better assassin. And you see Ezio's evolution not just in his combat prowess, but also in how he ages. Honestly, my favorite combat technique in this game is disarming an enemy and then killing them with their own weapon. And sometimes I really like taking a page out of the most overpowered DPS weapon from Odyssey and pushing enemies off of ledges and letting gravity decide things. And I also really like the notoriety system. If Ezio is too notorious from his deeds in the eyes of the law, he'd get noticed almost immediately in missions. So you have to go around pulling down wanted posters and bribing pastors to keep his notoriety down so that he can remain anonymous. I was even stumped at how many open areas were in this game. Unity and Syndicate only took place in massive contained cities. Black Flag and Rogue took place across entire oceans. Assassin's Creed 2 takes place across multiple cities. I thought that the opening city, Firenze, was large enough. But then after the first opening chapters, we go to Monteriggioni Villa, which is basically Ezio's hiding place. Then we move on to Tuscany with all of its open fields and a smaller walled city in the middle. And of course, Venice. I was baffled at how huge the Venice map is in this game. After starting a new chapter in Venice, the first thing I do is go around to all of the sync points to reveal the map. I go on to complete the chapter, then after starting the next one, more sync points would show up that weren't available yet. This happened for 4 chapters in a row. And later, in Chapter 13, Ezio returns to Florence and there's more of Florence to be discovered? What? Okay, now I would like to talk about a few things in this game that I didn't like very much, starting with the minor things. Remember just a second ago when I mentioned I like pushing people off of buildings? Well, in this same exact mission where I had to climb up a bunch of towers to kill a preacher that was shouting at the top of the tallest one, I died multiple times and had to start my climb all over again. And guess how I died every time? Gravity. Sometimes I'd accidentally slip and fall, sometimes enemies will notice me and knock me off, and one time the enemy that did it was the guy I was trying to kill. Yup, karma bit me hard in the ass on this one, huh? It was pretty much a hit or miss situation. Next, it wouldn't be an Assassin's Creed game without some trailing missions, am I right? I really hate these things. Even when there are times when I had to tail enemies, I'd at least follow them from the rooftops to try and keep things interesting, and it was still pretty obnoxious. And you guys remember the whole tenet about stay your hand from the flesh of the innocent and don't be a serial killer? Well, there's a something in this game that makes me want to pull a complete 180 and become a serial killer. Don't take that out of context. This is a video game I'm talking about here. And my reasoning is simple. The freaking bards that get in Ezio's way. They are so annoying. I don't care if you want to show off your art. You know you're annoying an assassin, right? So shove off, you entitled pricks. And then there's the present day sections of the game. It isn't just AC2. These parts are the weakest parts of the story in any Assassin's Creed game. Whenever these parts come up, I can't help but think, okay, can we get back to the actual good story that I'm supposed to be invested in, please? Ubisoft could take these parts out of the games completely, and the story as a whole would be completely unaffected. The whole thing where using the Animus to access the memories of historical figures to learn within, like, a day everything that took them their entire lives to learn sounds like a unique idea on paper, but when it plays out, it is just super boring. And before you make the argument of, well, you need to play the first game for things to make sense, let me just say that I don't. I hope to play the first game in the future, but I know the general gist of what happened with Desmond at Abstergo, and it still bores me. Also, Sean is a snobby, self-entitled prick, and I hate him.
This stuff, Desmond. Oh, this stuff is nothing special, really, this stuff. It's just the stuff that keeps our entire operation from falling apart, really. It requires a great deal of concentration to keep it all moving, so you'll forgive me if I don't have time to play meet and greet.
The only thing about the present day sections that I found noteworthy was that I recognized Desmond's voice actor. He's voiced by Nolan North, the same man that voiced Nathan Drake in the Uncharted games.
Thanks for that. It was great. Shoved in the trunk, bouncing around. Loved
this
it.
way.
Ah, good old Subject 16. He repainted my room, you know. With his blood. Save it. After what those Templar bastards put me through, I'm ready, willing, and able.
But he does a much more phenomenal job as Nathan than he does as Desmond.
Hinky. You act like you've never seen a German U-boat in the middle of the jungle before.
And what is worth all this trouble, I hear you ask?
I didn't, but go ahead.
Have you even seen any signs of a massive pirate colony? Because I sure the hell haven't.
How the hell am I supposed to take on a hell? You don't even know what it's called.
I don't need to know what it's called. I've seen you play. It's jumping and running, and I have a natural talent for that.
really?
So, what do you say, chicken? Is it a bet?
Oh, wow. Okay, cowboy.
And then there's the one thing in the story that borders between confusing me and pissing me off. I'm going to put a spoiler warning here, I guess, but this is still a 15-year-old game. Everything else about the story was good, minus the present day sections and this. And I'm going to say it in Italian because it's fitting. 3, 2, 1. Che cazzo era quel finale?
No, not gods. We simply came before. Even when we walked the world, your kind struggled to understand our existence.
You've got a futuristic god talking not to Ezio, but directly to Desmond as if they are well aware that Ezio's descendant, specifically named Desmond, would be accessing his memories at that moment in time, even though Ezio was the one that activated the Pieces of Eden way back when? I mean, what the hell kind of writing is that? Now, barring that ending and the present-day snooze fest that the games try to burn into our brains and ultimately fails to make it concrete, I agree that Assassin's Creed 2 is the best Assassin's Creed game. This really was AC at its peak, and it kept me engaged through to the end of the game. It took me about 25 hours to beat, mostly because I also found a lot of the side missions as a nice distraction, but even after beating the main story, I know that there are a few things that I missed. Also, you remember how I said I thought Edward Kenway has the best assassin garb? Well, he has been dethroned. Ezio's assassin robes are fantastic. It just has so much flair, and there are plenty of different ways to colorize it to express yourself. Plus, I love how whenever he isn't running, Ezio covers his left arm with the cape. That is a nice touch. To end this off, you guys remember how I compared the 6 games that I played in the last video to fast food brands? Well, Assassin's Creed 2 is like the Chick-fil-A of video games. It gets a solid 8 out of 10 from me. Don't get me wrong, however, I do like Assassin's Creed now, but I don't consider myself a fan. It isn't one of my favorite video game franchises of all time or anything. How about this? If you put the following games in front of me and told me that I could pick only one to play for the rest of my life, I would easily pick Assassin's Creed 2. Heck, I would pick Odyssey over any of these games. There are games out there that are better than Assassin's Creed, but there are also plenty of games out there that are worse than Assassin's Creed. Regardless, 2 was really good, and I am definitely looking forward to playing Brotherhood and Revelations. And it honestly makes me more excited to try out 1 and 3. Come on, bring on the Connor. I'm ready for some tomahawk action. Congratulations if you made it to the end of this video, and thank goodness that I am actually coming to a close because I have something that I've been needing to get off my chest. I am putting my channel on semi-hiatus. I say semi-hiatus because I'm still going to be doing my monthly Pokemon videos, mostly because they are shorter and easier for me to make. Plus, I just want content to keep going on my channel some way or another. But my gaming content, I am taking a long break from, for 2 reasons. 1, my hardware. I actually have 2 PCs, a desktop for gaming and a laptop back there for video editing. They still work, but they are old and are getting really slow and are becoming less and less reliable for what I use them for. It's only a matter of time before I have to either refurbish them or replace them entirely. 2, my mental health. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but my channel really is not that big. I've been making YouTube videos since 2017, and my process and style of videos has changed drastically throughout the years and has gotten better, but a lot of work has gone into my videos as of late. Starting in September, Didnapper 2 review, Persona 3 Reload review, first Assassin's Creed video, Game of the Year 2024, and now this. Everything from recording footage to the script writing to recording dialogue to editing, I honestly have not had a lot of fun with it. I've said this in my Game of the Year 2024 video, but ever since my Game of the Year 2023 video, my confidence in making these videos took a great hit because of all the criticism that it received, and my confidence took an even greater hit after that first Assassin's Creed video. So I figured I might as well just slam on the brakes and let it sit for a while. There were a few other game franchises that I was planning on making videos on, one of which being The Last of Us, because I love The Last of Us and the second game is reaching its 5-year anniversary this year, but now that video is most likely not going to happen. When thinking about what I want to do next, I didn't want to come to the conclusion of retiring my YouTube channel completely because a part of me still really enjoys making these videos, but I still need a break, so a hiatus will be good for me. My Pokemon videos can be your way of seeing how I'm doing, and if you would like to continue supporting me, you can go back and watch some of my older videos, and you can hit the subscribe button and leave likes. Or I could keep you guys up to date on what I think about other Assassin's Creed games as well as plenty of other games in my community tab in the meantime. You never know. Honestly, I'd like any of my videos to beat my Sonic Mania video when it comes to views because I really hate that video. I have so many videos that are better than that one, and yet 800,000 views? That video is not 800,000 views level of good. I mean, what the hell? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I'm signing off for a while, and who knows when I'll be back into the full swing of things. After a year? 2 years? I really do not know. But until then, you'll just have to deal with me making fun of Pokemon once a month. Now, if you'll excuse me, I would like to go and play Brotherhood now.